YouTube, how you doing? Murph here, bringing you another product review. Today's review is going to be on the brand new Ducky 1.3 Mini. This is a follow-on to the extremely popular Ducky 1.2 series boards, specifically the Ducky 1.2 Mini. And this has received a lot of new upgrades for this generation. I'm going to try to refrain from comparing this to a Ducky 1.2 Mini during this video. I'll be doing a direct comparison between the Ducky 1.2 Mini and the Ducky 1.3 Mini over the next few days, but today we're just going to focus on a full and complete review of this keyboard. Ducky aimed to really enhance the typing experience and the acoustics on this keyboard. Specifically, they focused on what they refer to as quack mechanics. And these quack mechanics are essentially a series of objectives that they wanted to hit when designing this keyboard. They really wanted to focus on things like the keycaps, the weight distribution, the stabilizers, and just the typing experience in general, and of course, the acoustics. So just keep that in mind, and throughout this review, I will probably refer back to these quack mechanics. So we'll talk about the specifications and my recommendations and all of that, but first, as usual, let's start off by talking about design and build quality. Now, as far as the design is concerned, one of the first things you'll notice here is the color of the keyboard. The Ducky 1.3 series boards are available in a variety of colorways at launch. The Ducky 1.3 Mini specifically is available in this yellow color and also what they call a daybreak colorway, which is kind of a green and blue color scheme. This appears to be almost like their flagship model, and I think it's the one that most people are going to choose. The 1.3 series boards are also available at the moment in a Fuji and Matcha colorway, but from what I can tell, those seem to be reserved for some of the other models like the TKL version and stuff like that. What you will notice is that with this initial release, there are no neutral colors, specifically the white and black models that we're used to from Ducky. Right now, these are the colors that are available. I did reach out to a Ducky representative and they did confirm that they are working on white and black models of these keyboards, but it didn't really sound like they were coming anytime soon. They really couldn't give me any kind of firm timetable, but he did keep using words like maybe 2022, hopefully 2022, possibly next year. So just kind of making an assessment on the type of verbiage that was used during this little Q&A session. I wouldn't expect to see those black or white models anytime soon. These colors definitely aren't going to be for everyone, but I actually really like the daybreak. In my opinion, it's the most neutral color of the bunch, and I actually really like this yellow color here. It's not going to slot into most people's setups very easily. It's definitely more of a bold color, but I actually really like the yellow more than I thought I would. It looks way better in person than it does online in photos and stuff like that. And just like in the past, Ducky provides an assortment of extra keycaps. The keyboard came with a normal yellow escape key. I actually swapped it out for this circular keycap they have here. And they've also got some other designs, another Ducky logo. So if you do want to switch some stuff up, kind of stylize the keyboard differently, they do provide extra keycaps to do that. Continuing on with design, this is an all plastic bodied case, but I really like the design of the case itself. It's much more modern and sleek looking than the Ducky 1.2 series boards, as well as compared to most other pre-built keyboards on the market right now. This just looks a lot better in my opinion. You can see there's a lot of different angles. There's some cutouts on the side here. The profile looks really good, modern, clean, and that kind of lends way to this beveled front edge, as well as a beveled back edge as well. Hopefully the camera's picking that up pretty well. I think the overall design of the case is going to be a little bit more noticeable on the Daybreak model because of the two-tone, but the overall case design just looks really clean. You also get dip switches on the back here, the back plate which contains the serial number and the branding. You get a little bit of additional Ducky branding back here on the right-hand side. Another nice touch is this kind of enlarged cutout for the USB-C port. So for those of you with custom cables, most of your cables should fit in there just fine. You do get 3-level height adjustable feet. And as far as the RGB LEDs are concerned, they are very bright and vibrant. One thing you'll notice here is that the main set of keycaps do not have RGB shine through, but there is plenty of light bleed around the keycaps themselves, which just gives it a really good aesthetic. Also on the spare keycaps that are included, these white ones, there is RGB shine through on this. I don't know how well that's going to show on camera, but there is a little bit of light coming through on that enter key. And overall, the keyboard just has a very good, modern, clean aesthetic to it. Now, in reference to the build quality, it's pretty much what you can expect from most other plastic-bodied keyboards. There's very little bending or flexing in the case itself. It does include a braided USB-C cable this time, so a little bit of an upgrade with the cable itself. Very durable, it should last you quite a long time. And these are double shot PBT keycaps. And as you all know, double shot PBT keycaps typically last a very long time. They're very durable. They don't develop that kind of shine that some other keycaps do, like ABS keycaps that wear down over time. Realistically, these keycaps should last you the life of the keyboard. Now, as far as the specifications are concerned, this keyboard is 310 millimeters long, 110 millimeters wide, and it sits about 40 millimeters in height and comes in weighing 593 grams. We already discussed it does have double shot PBT keycaps. It comes in a variety of Cherry MX mechanical switches. It does have full array RGB backlighting, USB 2.0, in-key rollover, and most importantly, a Hotswap PCB. And this is a 5-pin PCB. So if you have 3-pin switches, no problem. If you have 5-pin switches, no clipping or anything is going to be necessary. Just throw them straight into the keyboard and you'll be good to go. One thing that is missing here, especially in this day and age heading into 2022, it's something that I thought for sure would be available whenever Ducky released the next series of keyboards, and that's a software option. You can still control the RGB functions very similar to how you did with the outgoing model. FN, Alt, and T will cycle between some of these reactive modes and the other modes that are preloaded onto the keyboard. But if you're looking for a software option to control RGB functions and macros, it's not available, at least at launch. This keyboard features a thin layer of case foam in the bottom and also some sound dampening material between the plate and the PCB. And this keyboard also features their factory pre-lubed V2 stabilizers. So this all kind of goes back to those quack mechanics of trying to enhance the typing experience and the acoustics. And the typing experience on this keyboard is great. It's what you can expect from mechanical switches. The stabilizers work very well. If you want to customize it a little bit further, again, it's a Hotswap PCB, so you can pull out these switches and lube and or film these if you deem it necessary. Typing on this keyboard just feels very planted, which is something they were really going for here when they were talking about making this keyboard have a really well planted center of gravity, very well balanced. And you can really feel all of that when you're typing on this keyboard. It's been a pleasure to type on with the limited experience that I've had with it so far. And with that being said, let's talk about how this keyboard sounds. I tested a wide variety of switches on this keyboard, and I'll put in a sound clip of all of those in a moment. But let me just say this keyboard sounds fantastic. Anyone who's been following this channel for a while knows that keyboards are one of the main things that I review. Over the past year and a half or so, I've reviewed probably around 20 or 30 different compact keyboards. And there's been other keyboards that I've used on my own time and haven't even reviewed on this channel. So I come at this with a good bit of experience when I say that this is the best sounding pre-built keyboard that I've ever used. And I know that's a very bold statement, but that really is how I feel. I tried going through some of my previous videos. I tried thinking about some of the keyboards that I've used, especially recently that I've purchased. And I tried thinking of one that sounded better out of the box than this, and I just couldn't do it. Ducky has stated over and over again that they really focused on acoustics for this keyboard, and it shows. All of the switches that I've put in here so far have just sounded really authentic. They've just sounded how they're supposed to sound. Of course, every keyboard is going to have kind of its own sound profile, so to speak. Keyboards have different amount of empty space inside. Some use case foam, some don't. Some use PCB foam, some don't. Sometimes there's different materials used inside of cases, and a lot of times there's just nothing used at all and there's just a lot of empty space in there. And that can all have an effect on how a switch sounds. Sometimes a switch can sound a little bit more dampened and muted, Sometimes it's the opposite, and because of the empty space, sometimes the switch sounds a little bit more hollow than it should, or a little bit higher pitched and pingy. And that's not really the case here. Everything sounded like you would want the switch that you're using to sound. Also, the factory pre-lubed stabilizers here sound very good as well. They're not perfect, but they sound far better than a lot of keyboards that are being shipped out right now sound. Now I'm going to insert a series of sound clips of different switches that I've tried so far. This is a review unit here. When I get my own personal unit, I'll probably try some additional switches as well. So if that's something you're interested in, I have a whole specific kind of sound test section of this channel that I'll probably post that in. But I'm going to throw in everything that I've used so far right now. Okay, so those are all of the switches that I've tried so far. Again, just a really clean sounding keyboard. Is this going to compare to a $600 aluminum framed custom keyboard that you bought in a group buy that you're going to wait a year and a half for? Probably not. But for a pre-built, shipped straight from the factory, available now keyboard, as far as sound and typing experience is concerned, this is realistically about as good as you're going to get. Really, my only main con with this keyboard is the fact that there's no software option. It really just kind of bugs me. I know a lot of people don't even care for the software that much. It's not a big feature for them. If you don't care about that kind of thing, then that's not even really a con. But that's really the only big thing that I think that this keyboard is missing. So what are my recommendations for this keyboard? Obviously, I think you should buy it. It starts at $120. It goes up from there depending on your switch options, but I think at most you're looking at about 130 with the silent red switches. And if you're looking for a compact 60% keyboard, it's going to be really, really difficult to beat this even at $120. And that pretty much wraps up this review. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to hit the thumbs up button. Also, if you'd like to continue seeing other content like this, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications to be notified of when I post new content. And YouTube, we'll catch you later.